All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our third and final application workshop for the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities Arts Exhibition Grant Line. Today we'll be reviewing the program as a whole. We'll be going over its goals, eligibility for individuals and organizations. We'll be going over some key dates, some notes on creating a budget, feasible budget, guidance for creating the exhibition proposal, how that proposal will be evaluated, as well as all of the mandatory documents and preparatory materials for the application. We'll also have time towards the end to, I'll share my screen and show you how to navigate the grant portal so that you can know where to put your correct documents. And we'll have plenty of time for questions throughout. We have about an hour and a half today, but given the small group, I imagine that maybe we'll move a little bit quicker than that. This is being recorded, so and I will be sending you a recording after this session, so you can feel free to take notes on your own, but don't feel a need to frantically take down everything, because you will receive a copy of this afterwards. My name is Michelle May Curry, and I am the curator on staff for the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. I'm in charge of the 200 I Street Gallery, where guest curators through this grant line will curate our I Street Gallery space, which means that I'll also be your main point of contact if you were to receive this grant line. And I will be a part of project managing your grant and assisting in reviewing your exhibition. Okay. So the Arts Exhibition Grant Line has been a grant line of the DC Arts Commission for several years now, and it provides support for the development and public presentation of visual art exhibitions by DC resident curators. It offers our I Street Gallery space within our building lobby, as well as our virtual gallery as an accessibility feature, which is also built to the specs of our brick and mortar gallery space. In order to be eligible for this grant line, you have to be a district resident individual, or new as of this year, you can be a district-based nonprofit organization with curatorial experience, with someone on staff with curatorial experience or capacity. This year, we will have 3 art exhibition grant lines available, which means we'll have 3 exhibitions over the course of 2025 that are fall underneath this grant line. In winter 2025, each one corresponds to a thematic category this year, which is new as of this year. Winter 2025, we are seeking out exhibition proposals for a social justice arts exhibition. This is broadly defined, and we're hoping that our curators can take that in the direction that they are most excited about. Spring 2025, we hope to have a veterans art exhibition proposal. And then in summer 2025, we are hoping to have an exhibition related to World Pride being hosted in Washington, D.C. in June. So exhibition proposals that look into queer identity in and through the arts we're looking for. This grant line is open to individuals as well as curatorial teams. So you can apply as an individual curator, or you can bring on a co-curator or curatorial mentee. This will slightly change or substantially change the amount that you can receive. As an individual, you can apply for up to $30,000 in funding. And as a curatorial team of 2, you can apply for up to $35,000 of funding. So something I like to say about our gallery space is that it has perhaps a unique mission in relation to some of the other arts organizations and gallery spaces, in the city. We're a civic arts organization funded by the DC government. So in comparison to a fine art gallery or a museum, our mission at our I Street Gallery is to create accessible and community focused, civically engaged arts exhibitions for the metropolitan community. So in that sense, we want to provide opportunities for DC resident curators to develop art exhibitions broadly and generally, but we also want to create sites of uh, arts education, civic engagement, and educational enrichment for the DMV community. So there's a range of criteria for eligibility for both individual applicants and for nonprofit arts organization applicants. So for individuals who are interested in applying, you have to be a artist, curator, or arts-related professional who's over the age of 18 with some prior curatorial experience. You have to be a legal resident of District of Columbia for at least a year prior to the application deadline. You have to maintain your residency in DC for the grant period. So you can't, move to Texas during your grant period. You have to remain within DC for the year. And then you have to be in good standing with the DC Arts Commission. So this only applies to you if you're someone who has received funding from the Arts Commission and you have missing reports, missing. I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves. Okay, so just any outstanding reports can make you ineligible to apply for new grant lines. So for nonprofit organizations who are applying, there are also a range of criteria for eligibility. You have to be a nonprofit 501c3 dated at least 1 year prior to the application deadline. You have to be a nonprofit organization or gallery representing artists living in the metropolitan area, doing principal business in DC, registered to do business in DC, with the majority of your business happening in DC. There's a few things that you cannot be, such as a college or university, a foreign government, a DC government agency, which includes DC public schools. So if you are somebody who works for any of these entities, you as an individual, of course, can apply, but you cannot apply, on behalf of a DC-based college or university. And then again, you have to be in good standing with CAH across any grant lines, open grant lines that you have. So there are 3 exhibition dates, three open exhibition windows, and these are the relevant dates here. The Winter 2025 Social Justice Arts Exhibition will run from January 10th to March 7th, with install and deinstall happening the week before and the week after opening. The Art of Veterans exhibition will run from April 4th to May 23rd, again with install and deinstall happening the week before and after. And then the World Pride exhibition will happen from June 13th to August 1st. Any questions? I know I'm talking perhaps a little fast, but I have lots of time to pause throughout as we're going through. Any questions at this point about eligibility or program goals or exhibition dates that I can answer? Okay, move us along. So with your exhibition proposal, oh, someone unmuted.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Sure. Yes, I can.
I have a question on the social justice part.
Sure.
Okay, what I'm a watercolor artist, and mostly my subjects are DC.
Sure.
So I don't know how that is related to the social justice.
Would you be applying to curate an exhibition based on your watercolors?
Yes.
Okay, so something important to note at this point is that the curator is meant to curate an exhibition of
Oh,
artwork.
you mean with some curator? No, I'm just individual right now.
An individual artist. So this
Yeah.
grant line might not make sense for you to apply for then because it's for curators to curate arts exhibitions.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's
Yeah.
not like for individual artists.
Yeah, for individual artists, you might want to look into the Art Bank program, which is our annual grant line that acquires individual artists' artwork into our permanent collection, DC's permanent collection. That grant line just closed a couple weeks ago, but it's open every single year in the springtime, and you should consider applying to that one. But if you're just looking for a place to show your watercolors, this grant line is not for you.
All right. Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
no
Thank you.
problem.
Bye
No
bye.
problem. Bye. Okay. So some notes on budget. So for this exhibition, you will have either $30,000 or $35,000 to execute the exhibition. And there's some notes on what can be an allowable cost and what is prohibited. So some examples of allowable costs within that $30,000 is a curatorial fee to pay yourself for the labor associated with creating this exhibition, which cannot exceed 20,000 or 20% of your budget. Same for a co-curator or curatorial mentee fee, which cannot exceed 20% budget. You can pay for artist fees or artistic personnel fees related to hiring consultants for the exhibition or paying artists. Any equipment costs or costs related to materials and supplies, any technology, any work related to directly related to the fabrication or install and deinstall of the exhibition. Any types of framing or pedestals or wall text or labeling are allowable costs. We have tied to the RFA, the request for applications, there's an addendum which lists all of the available equipment that we have, that CAH has, that can be lent to you for use in this exhibition. These are things like pedestals and TV monitors and chairs and tables. But things like framing and wall text and labeling is, of course, it falls underneath the allowable cost for your budget. Any costs related to delivery or pickup return of artwork, shipping and transportation across locations, and any items related to website or photography of artworks, any design or maintenance is allowable. We also have a few ways of supporting curators uh, in supporting the creation of postcards and social media uh, related to this exhibition. We can circulate it on our platforms. Any programmatic expenses, such as compensating speakers for artist talks or any types of educational programming, general liability insurance for putting on the exhibition in our space, any storage rentals you need in order to store artwork before or after the show, any travel directly related to pulling together the show, and any exhibition catalogs or documentation of the exhibition itself, such as video work, um, is allowable. Examples of unallowable costs. Food and beverage at events is not allowed to be paid for by your grant. Any sub-granting or re-granting of funds, there's a difference here between paying artists for their participation and versus a call for art, putting on another call for art and issuing grants. related to your grant line. You cannot pay your tuition or scholarships at this grant line, or pay any of the non-allowable or ineligible groups such as universities or DC public schools. You cannot fundraise with using these funds, or you cannot travel related to anything outside of directly executing this exhibition. So in pulling together your application proposal, you'll see in the RFA that there's several pages of blueprints and schema related to our brick and mortar space at 200 I Street. We recommend, alongside reviewing these addendum pages, that you visit the gallery space in person to plan the exhibition design, just to get a sense of what's possible. The gallery is approximately 180 linear feet within a public building lobby. There's a full wall of mirrors, or I'm sorry, full wall of windows, and it opens up into a security desk and into a hallway back into the government building. There's a photo of the gallery space. Another angle from the other way. So you'll see security up here, wall of windows here, it's the entrance. And to experience our virtual gallery, you can click on this link when I send this to you all by email. So in creating your exhibition proposal, you can consider including 2- and 3-dimensional works. You will pull together a checklist of artworks that you're proposing to include in the exhibition. We don't require that you have all of the artworks selected at the time of exhibition proposal, but we do ask that you help us understand what you're trying to do with your exhibition by including some images of artwork. You can, as of this year, include up to 2 of your own pieces if you're a working artist and would like to include some of your work in the show as well. And the curator will be in charge of installing and deinstalling the show. So you can coordinate this install and deinstall with a professional art handler or experienced installer. Curators will also be asked to pull together programming related to the exhibition. So we hope that you have an opening reception, or we require that you have an opening reception and at least one other event in the gallery space tied to the exhibition. This could be some type of artist talk or educational programming, workshop, or closing reception if you just want to have an opening and closing reception. There is a requirement that you propose what these events are in the proposal, and this can be as simple as artist talk with exhibited artists in conversation with the curator, in coinciding with the closing of the exhibition, right? Your exhibition proposal will be evaluated by a jury panel of experts, of peer experts from the metropolitan region. And there are a range of criteria that your proposal will be judged by. 30% of your score will come from looking at the artwork selection and concept and exhibition programming. So the full scope of the exhibition. Another 30% will be tied to the actual selection of artworks that you've proposed. There's a note here on artistic excellence and high aesthetic quality. This is, of course, an extremely subjective way of talking about artwork, and artistic excellence comes in many shapes and forms. Um, Children's art can be highly um, excellent, as can artwork created during community events, as can artwork that might be sold in a fine art gallery. We encourage you to explore a range of types of artworks and see all of them as valuable in our gallery space. Um, this criteria will also look at, apologies, how you've laid out the gallery in your optional gallery layout, and how you're considering use of space generally. Another 30% will come from thinking about accessibility and inclusion within your exhibition proposal, how you might be offering emerging and underrepresented artists opportunities for exposure, how you're including a co-curator, a curatorial mentee, or how you're bringing other artists into the fold of your exhibition via artist talks or workshops. We just want to see some evidence of intentionality on this level. And then finally, 10% of the criteria will come from reviewing the budget and its feasibility. I'll pause here. I've been talking for a bit. Any questions related to gallery layout, evaluation criteria, anything that I've just covered? All right. So I'm going to move on to some of the mandatory documents associated with pulling together this proposal. The first is that you will, probably the most significant part of this proposal is that you'll submit an exhibition proposal with a curatorial statement that relates to the proposed exhibition. This is a maximum of 500 words, and this is your opportunity to describe the full scope and aim of the exhibition that you're proposing. You can talk about some of the artworks that you're proposing to bring in, any type of programming that you're interested in doing, and why CAH is a good place for this exhibition to exist. You'll submit a detailed outline and timeline of that programming and events, any programming events that you propose. We've created 3 calendar templates for you to use to submit this timeline. Really, the only things that you need to add to this timeline, because since everything is fairly set in stone in terms of the exhibition production timeline, is when your events will be, and adding some language describing those events. You'll submit any resumes or CVs that you have or that your co-curator or mentee have. You'll submit a budget using the provided budget template that describes how your grant funds will be utilized. You will submit as many artist statements as you are able to tied to the proposed exhibition and the proposed artists that you hope to bring into this exhibition. So this is a maximum of 250 words each. And if, again, we hope that you can pull together as robust of an exhibition proposal as you can at this time, but don't expect the list of artists to be set in stone at the time of proposal. So as many as you can, but not required to have all. If you fall in the category of someone who would like to work with organizations to produce artwork for this show, then you can submit mission statements related to those organizations, or any materials that might be relevant to understand how you would be bringing in those organizations into the creation of the artwork. You can submit an image list for the proposed artwork. So this would have things like the artist's name, the artist's title, year, dimensions, price of the work if it's relevant, and then images of the artworks that you are proposing to bring into the gallery. There will be a media library where you can upload these images into the application itself. Again, these are subject to change as the exhibition evolves, but as much as you can give the jury panel a understanding of what you're proposing. If you are proposing a program that and an educational program that includes students or youth under the age of 18, then you will need to submit a background check of any of the proposed facilitators of that event at the time of application. This year, we are making a rendering of the actual exhibition layout optional, given that we know how much of a heavy lift this is before even receiving a grant. If you are at a stage where you feel like you can put work on the wall using the provided images in the RFA, or coming in and taking photos or of the space and imposing artwork onto them, or if you'd like to submit some sketches of the walls with artwork on them, any way that you can creatively show the proposed exhibition, we're happy to look at, though it is not a requirement of the application this year. There are some mandatory compliance documents that are related to submitting any grant line for CAH funds. Some of them are also required for receiving any grant from the DC government. And one of them is the Certificate of Clean Hands. If you are applying for any government funds, grant funds, you have to receive a certificate of clean hands that demonstrates that you do not owe any money to the DC government in the form of unpaid taxes or traffic violations, traffic fines, so more than $100. This is, again, a mandatory document that you can obtain by going to the My Tax DC website. And I would start the work of getting this document sooner rather than later, because sometimes it can prove a sticking point for many people. We recognize also the ways that asking for a certificate of clean hands can be an impediment to entry for many creatives in DC, as we all navigate the financial burden of being an artist in the city. If you fall in the category of someone who owes money to the DC government, but would still like to participate in this grant program, you can enter into a payment plan with the Office of Tax and Revenue that gets you a certificate of clean hands in the process, that states that you are, working towards paying off your taxes, and they will provide you with a provisional certificate of clean hands. I will send I'll send some relevant information for folks who might need it as they're navigating this application. There's many how-to documents and Q&A documents that I can send. You'll also send a statement of certification, which is a document that is unique to CAH that just has all applicants agree to a certain number of stipulated guidelines when applying to DC Arts Commission grant lines. You'll also submit a IRS form W-9, which is required for all applicants as well. The statement of certification and the W-9 can both be found on our resources for grants applicants page on our CAH website. And again, I'll link to this in my follow-up email. For organizations, there's a few additional compliance documents that have to do with the nonprofit status of your organization. So a letter of determination, a tax certificate of incorporation, and a IRS form 990 from your most recent tax fiscal year. any questions about mandatory documents at this point or elements of the application proposal? So there are a number of stages to this application process, and one of the ways that we've revised the application process this year is by determining what is required at the time of application versus what is required once you receive the grant, um, and once you're well under your way in curating the exhibition. So I just ran through all of the application documents that are required at the time of application. But there will be a few steps once you receive the grant that I can point you to at this point. Um, at the time of award, you will apply for commercial general liability insurance. This is something that you can incorporate in as a line item into your budget. But once you receive the award or once you're granted the award, then you will obtain the general liability insurance in order so that you can bring artwork safely into our gallery. There are a number of required documents 30 days prior to installation, and this is essentially your checkpoint for review of the exhibition as it is, going to be brought into the gallery itself. So, at the time of application, you send a rough proposal of this exhibition, and 30 days prior to the actual installation of the exhibition, you will send a finalized rendering of the exhibition, a checklist, labels and wall text, bios, any relevant marketing materials, final programming dates, letters of consent from the artists themselves saying that yes, they agree to having their artwork displayed in our gallery, and then again, any relevant background checks. Many of these things in previous versions of this grant line were required at the time of application, and now we see them as requirements at the time of, right prior to installation. As project manager on this grant line, I would be the point of contact for reviewing all of these materials, and really my assistance and review at this stage is about just making sure that the work makes sense for the space, that you're being thoughtful, inclusive, um, and that we can both put our stamps of approval on the exhibition itself. I also, would work as a resource, as a sounding board for any curators as they're pulling together the exhibition, and see you, the curator, as the leader of that effort. And then once the exhibition is completed, there's just a couple short forms related to, including all of your receipts and reviewing the budget, and then a final report. So as you're applying to this grant line, we recommend that you pull all of these documents, there's many documents, into one single folder and use a singular naming system, such as your last name underscore CV, last name underscore W9, in order to keep yourself organized. We recommend that you have someone from outside of your discipline review your application just so that you can get another set of eyes on it. The jury panel of peers can be a range of artists, arts professionals, art educators, curators. And so you can imagine that they may have a range of viewpoints coming into that review work. The application deadline for this grant line is July 1st at 9 p.m. And we recommend that you work well in advance of that deadline, as opposed to submitting on the final day. We recommend, working on your exhibition proposal for several weeks and submitting with enough time for you to attend to any issues that might arise during that. submission process. If you run into any technical issues as you're navigating the grant portal, there is a support tab for you to receive technical assistance. This is if there is some type of malfunction in the portal itself, but if you have any questions related to the exhibition proposal process, I'm happy to answer them. So this brings us to navigating the actual grant portal. This is a screenshot here of the homepage for CAH's grant portal for applicants. If you're a new applicant, you would hit that green button that says sign up today and you would create an account. And if you have previously created an exhibition proposal or applied for CAH grant funds through our grant portal, then you will sign in through the login button here. You'll then hit continue, which will bring you to a page that has a new application button on it. You'll hit new application, and you will be brought to a list of all of CAH's open grant lines. You'll select Art Exhibition Grant, either for individuals or nonprofit organizations, and you'll move into the Narrative Questions tab of the application, and you'll fill in all of the required fields that have to do with the title, the begin and end dates, the curatorial statement, etc. You'll hit save and continue. You'll then upload your budget spreadsheet using the budget template provided through the RFA. Again, I'm going to send all of this via email for you to have readily available to you. Submit your budget, your project expense spreadsheet. You'll hit save and continue. And then you'll have the opportunity to upload any JPEG files related to artworks that you are proposing to have included in the exhibition. You'll attach them via the media library, which you can understand as like the document library of the grants portal itself, rather than the document library of your application itself. So there will be a stage where you upload documents into the library, and then you upload those documents in the library into your application. So it's a two-step process. You'll hit that attach media from library page, and you'll be brought to a place where you can upload all of those artwork files. And when you're done uploading all of your files, you'll click this button. It says click here when you're done uploading your files to see your new media files. And then it will take you to your document, your media library itself. Once you're in your media library, it'll look like this. You'll be able to scroll through all of the media that you've uploaded. And in order to attach that media into your application, you will select the title, the blue title of all of the works. You'll just click on the title of each work, and it will immediately populate into your application. You'll do this for all of your artworks, and then you'll close out of the media file, and you'll be able to review all of the artworks that you've uploaded. The next page you'll be taken to is the required documents page, where you will upload all of your PDF files and label them related to, what item they are. So you'll upload any relevant, proposed exhibition timeline, your CD, your curatorial statement, all of that will go here. And then you will be able to review the application as a whole and press submit. I'm happy to work with you at this stage if you would like another set of eyes on your application. You've uploaded all of your documents, you're ready to submit. You just want to make sure that I see it before you press submit, and I can tell you if there's anything missing. I'm happy to set up an appointment with you all for that review process. That is the workshop. I have lots of time for questions here. We've ended a little bit early, and so I'm happy to stay on and talk about any specifics related to your proposal or any questions you have about the application process that I've laid out here.
Michelle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Cassie.
I put in the chat, when you ask for the background checks, there
Yes.
is not a place to drop that uh, when we say have it in our document file, but
Hmm.
there's a place to choose a file to drop it into. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
What do
so
we
you
do
can
on
just
that?
put it in as an additional document and label it as background check.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
thank you.
Hmm. Thanks for letting me know. Any other questions that I can answer at this time? Okay, I am going to stop recording. And thank you all for your time and attention this afternoon. It's quite the process, but I'm so excited to see what you all propose. It's a really great opportunity to curate a gallery space to receive support through the process, and work with the DC government on a topic of significance. Um, Again, I'm really happy to support you in your application process. This page has my email and my phone number. Please let me know if you'd like to set up an appointment to talk further. But that concludes our workshop, and thank you so much. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.